The boardroom was silent, except for the sound of two infants wailing from the corner. The young CO, Victoria Hayes, sat at the head of the table, her eyes darting nervously between the charts on the screen and the twin stroller beside her. She had tried everything: pacifiers, toys, even two exhausted nannies who had already resigned that very morning. Nothing worked. And now, with a dozen investors waiting for her pitch, her baby's cries grew louder, drowning her every word. She was brilliant, ambitious, and respected across Wall Street. But in that moment, she wasn't the CEO everyone feared. She was just a mother, desperate, tired, and holding back tears. That's when a man in a plain shirt and worn boots quietly stood up from the back of the room. His name was Jack Turner. A single dad. A veteran. He wasn't an investor, or a bigwig, or anyone who belonged in that room. He was just there fixing a jammed projector the company's IT couldn't handle. But he couldn't ignore the sight before him. Without asking permission, Jack walked over to the stroller, knelt down, and whispered something only the babies could hear. Then, gently, he scooped both crying twins into his arms, one on each shoulder. To everyone's shock, he started to dance. Not stiff, awkward steps, but a slow, steady sway, the kind you only know if you've once held a baby through nights of sickness, nightmares, or loneliness. His boots tapped softly against the polished floor, his low hum filling the air. And in less than a minute, the cries faded. The twins blinked up at him with wide, curious eyes. One giggled. The other reached for his dog tags that dangled from his neck. The room full of executives, millionaires, and investors froze, not because the babies were quiet, but because they had just witnessed something they'd never seen in a boardroom before: raw, unpolished humanity. Victoria's voice cracked when she finally spoke. "Who are you?" Jack just smiled faintly, still rocking the babies. "Nobody special. Just a dad who's learned a few tricks." Her pitch went on, but nobody looked at the slides anymore. They looked at the man calming two restless babies with nothing but patience and kindness. And for the first time in months, Victoria finished her presentation without fear, because her children were safe, wrapped in a stranger's steady arms. When the meeting ended, investors shook her hand, but they also clapped Jack on the back. One even said, "That's the kind of man you want on your team." Victoria walked up to him, her eyes softer than they had been in years. "You didn't just help my children," she said quietly. "You saved me." Jack shrugged. Any dad would have done the same. But she knew better. She'd hired dozens of nannies, assistants, and experts. None of them had calmed her babies like this. None of them had given her peace. Her words slipped out before she could stop them. "Marry me," the room gasped. Jack chuckled, shaking his head. "You don't even." "Now me." She looked him straight in the eye. "I know enough. I know you're the first person who didn't see my kids as a burden. And for that, you already mean more than most people in my life." He didn't answer right away. But when one of the twins tugged at his dog tags again, and Victoria laughed for the first time in months, Jack realized something. Maybe this wasn't about romance or titles yet. Maybe it was about two broken families finding a way to heal together. And so he replied, "Let's start with dinner." Victoria's steps seemed to stop on their own. She kept wondering if she had really said, "Marry me," or if it was just the desperation of her heart playing tricks on her. Jack still held the babies in his arms. Both little angels were completely calm now, as if they too understood that these arms were not strangers to them. Tears welled up in Victoria's eyes. For months she had felt utterly alone. The world saw her as a powerful, unshakable CEO, but inside she was just a weary mother who asked herself day and night, "Am I a good mom?" Jack had already read that unspoken question on her face. He spoke softly. "You're not alone. Raising kids is like fighting a war. The battlefield is just different." His words sank straight into her heart. Victoria gave a faint smile and said, "You did in one moment what dozens of experts and nannies couldn't do." Jack lifted his shoulders lightly. "It's not about expertise, it's about heart. Babies can always feel the heart. It was a strange, suspended moment. The boardroom was now empty, the investors long gone, but to Victoria it felt as if time had stopped. There was only her children, and this man who, for reasons unknown, had heard the silent cry of her heart.